BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, our VWAP is favoring bearish. We did try to break away from our channel, but we were rejected, so watch for a strong red candle. If we get a strong red candle here, we could have a rejection of our channel, which would cause us to drop lower and follow that MPP. Now, that would be positive for crypto because remember, usually when Dixie goes up, crypto goes down, kind of like today. So watch things very closely as we do look like we could break away. Here over on the 1 hour, we do have a lower high, so watch for a lower low. If we end up getting lower lows with lower highs from this point, then we can break away. That VWAP is favoring bearish, so watch for continued lower highs and lower lows on that as well to bring that momentum and money flow lower. Remember, when that momentum and money flow remain in the red like this, we do set that daily up for further red candles. So this little push up could end up being retraced. Watch tomorrow for confirmation. Now, over on Bitcoin dominance, we have very not so similar setup. That volume looked like a wick, but it was not. So we have a little bit of a push up. This is making a higher high. So I would watch. We are trying to fill that candle wick. Remember, candle wicks act just like gaps, or they have a high chance to fill. That VWAP is trying to make a higher low. Momentum is pushing forward, and money flow is in the green. Over on the 1 hour, that VWAP is breaking into bearish territory after getting a bullish run. So keep an eye on things though. We do have a higher low, so if we do push above that neutral, we're likely going to continue forward. But if that VWAP rejects here, we will see momentum pull back and money flow would remain in the red. And remember, that would be positive for our altcoins as we need that Bitcoin dominance to weaken as total and Bitcoin go up for our altcoins again alt season. Over on the 1 hour here, we are rejecting our pattern, continuing to push down. This could be a long upper shadow candle, so I would watch tomorrow. If we get another strong red candle, we may end up pushing down and getting the rest of that fill out for that candle wick. RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is weakening. VWAP does look like it does want to reject that neutral. Momentum is pushing down, and money flow is in the red. Over on the 1 hour here, we do have lower highs and lower lows, so I would watch this very closely. If we can get our parallel channel tool, draw our highs, attached to our lows, they do not connect. So since the highs and lows do not connect as they fall, this is a bearish continuation that can drop us even lower. That VWAP is breaking into bullish territory, and if it can hold, we will push up. But if we see that VWAP make a lower high, then pull back into the neutral or bearish territory, momentum will continue lower, money flow will break down, and higher time frames will continue to push down. So we don't look very positive unless we can make a strong bounce and then continue forward. We did push up very quick the other day, so seeing this retracement isn't necessarily the end of the world, providing we can meet support here and then continue off of it. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, or futures for the daily, we still have two gaps to the upside now here on the daily. That is positive. Remember, gaps have an 80% likelihood to fill, so there's an 80% chance that we go up in both these ranges. We will get rid of this descending channel as we covered that yesterday. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is dropping. The VWAP is favoring bearish with the lower lows, so keep an eye on that. Momentum is dropping and money flow is starting to weaken. If that VWAP continues to favor bearishly, we could see other indicators start to pull back like the momentum and money flow. Over on the 1 hour, we did have attempt to break forward. We did reject higher highs with a lower low, so I would exercise caution and watch for another lower high. If we get another lower high, this bearish continuation will attempt to bring us right around that 93, 91K range. VWAP does want to break that neutral, momentum does want to push forward, and money flow is in the green. So if that VWAP can break forward and hold, then we can push forward. Otherwise, if we break forward like, let's see, right back here, and then kind of just taper off right away, we will make a push forward, but it would not be very sustainable. So over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did attempt to break away from our triangle. We covered that in the Discord, but we said to exercise a bit of caution and watch if it is a fake out. And that is what's looking like. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is rounding away. VWAP is pretty flat, momentum is bearish, so keep an eye on that VWAP. It does look like it is starting to favor a little more on the bearish side here. Over on the 1 hour, we got that fake out here. Right around one of these candles is where we sent our video or our update, and we said, hey, watch out. Things do look a little worrisome. That VWAP is weakening. Momentum is starting to pull back. So we had things that were looking a little more bearish. That money flow is bullish, but it's not very convincing, as that VWAP did favor bearishly here after getting the push up, and that VWAP favoring bearish does have a potential setup for us to still break down. We are kind of rejecting away. We were just below the triangle when the video started. Now we're on the support. So it's going to be very important where our next candle goes, as we're trying to make several long lower shadows. If followed by strong red candles, we're going to break down. But this does suggest that the bears tried to bring us down, and the bulls are stopping that. So watch for higher highs with higher lows. If we can get higher highs with higher lows, then we can continue forward. There is a 60% chance we push up to around that 98K, but that could be a lower high, and then we may reject lower from there. So watch very closely. Right now, it does look like we are attempting to break out, but we aren't succeeding. So the next candle will kind of be important. If it's a strong green candle, we will invalidate this pattern, but if it's a strong red candle, we will push down toward that 93K most likely. Over on graph for the daily, we do have a bit of a rejection continuing our push down. We did push down right around that support level we said to watch for. So if we do not hold here, make a bounce, then watch for the 11 cents next. Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is weakening, VWAP is starting to reject that neutral, so watch that VWAP close. Momentum did want to push forward. It does have a double green dot, but that's going to be dependent on the slower time frame here. Over on the 1 hour, we did try to break into a little bit of a bullish push. We got rejected, overall sliding away, rejecting our value area low. If we see further red candles here, we could make a new fixed range volume profile, and that's where we may end up continuing lower. We do have a gap to the upside though, so remember, those do have an 80% chance to fill. So if we do lose some momentum here, there is a high chance we would retest this 13-cent range at least. RSI is starting to pull back. Stochastic doesn't want to push forward. VWAP is bullish but starting to pull back, so watch that VWAP close. If it makes a rejection here, momentum will remain bearish with that red dot. Money flow will continue to weaken, and higher time frames would be primed to drop down. This is two long lower shadow candles though, so watch for a strong green candle. If we can get a strong green candle and we can hold above that 1313, then we could continue forward and break that value area low to continue back toward that 14316. So over on Anchor for the daily, we are overall pushing away, rejecting that resistance area. RSI is pretty flat, Stochastic's pulling back. VWAP is pretty flat, it is bullish, but it doesn't have very much strength, so that momentum is stagnating, causing our money flow to start to pull back. This does look a little worrisome, so watch those lower time frames. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we have those lower highs and lower lows. We don't have any gaps that I can see immediately that we would fill besides this 2402, but we do have another one right around this 2195. If we filled it then rejected, that would just create a bearish trend where we continue lower. We do have a bearish continuation already. Stochastic is pushing up. RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP does want to reject. Momentum is starting to round, and the money flow is starting to break into the red. If this VWAP breaks through that neutral, it's likely higher time frames will weaken and we would drop away. But keep in mind, we would end up filling these gaps at that 2193 and that 24 area. Most likely, they do, remember, have an 80% chance to fill. So over on XRP for the daily, we are down around that 233 area. So that's our first support we said to watch for. Hopefully you have bought in. And if you've been on the fence, this would be a good area to buy in my opinion. Remember, DCA in and DCA out. Don't try to time the market because you're going to get wrecked. VWAP is favoring bearish. We are starting to round away. So watch if we get a lower high. If we get a lower high, momentum will continue lower and money flow could break down. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we are rejecting that Fibonacci level. We said it was likely we would test it, and we did reject it. So we did try to retest, and then we got pushed down. That could have been your cue. We may end up pulling back even more as we have a lower high. So watch for lower lows, as that could pull us back right around that $2 range. And then remember, we said watch that like $1.80, $1.90 range. Stochastic does want to push up. VWAP does want to gain strength. Momentum is trying to push forward, but with the VWAP rounding, has causing momentum to round. So keep an eye on that VWAP. If it just makes a short wave here, then money flow will remain red and higher time frames will be set up to start to break away. Finally, over on Algo for the daily, we are rejecting our value area high, so I would exercise caution, but remember we did say watch for about that 25-22 cent range. RSI is pulling back, stochastic is weakening, VWAP does want to break through that neutral, and momentum does want to push forward, so this does look positive, but that's going to be dependent on how lower time frames look. Money flow is overall pulling back, so I would watch that VWAP very close on the lower time frames. Over on the 1 hour, we do have lower highs with lower lows, so I would exercise caution. RSI is starting to curl. Stochastic does want to run up though, so if that stochastic can break through that 30 and hold, then RSI can push bullishly and lead price up. VWAP is starting to stagnate though after pushing bullish, so I would watch for a shorter high. If we get a weaker high here, we could see consistent lows, which would keep momentum in the bearish territory, causing money flow to remain red and weakening those higher time frames to create an environment where we could push even lower. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and join us in that Discord.